Turn to Beal & Hebert, your trusted hometown lawyers. At Beal & Hebert, we make estate planning simple and stress-free, ensuring your legacy is secure and your future is in the right hands. Don't wait. Schedule your consultation today at BealHebert.com. That's BealHebert.com. Safeguarding your tomorrow today.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number one, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Imagine a place where wellness, luxury, and community come together. Welcome to City Club at River Ranch, Acadiana's premier private club. Enjoy a state-of-the-art fitness center, exceptional tennis and pickleball programs, resort-style amenities, and a vibrant social atmosphere. Whether you're pursuing your fitness goals or expanding your social circle, City Club offers an unmatched member experience. Visit cityclubatriverranch.com today. City Club at River Ranch, where lifestyle meets distinction.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros had quite the weekend. They swept the Texas Rangers, securing the Lone Star Series for the season and grabbing first place in the American League West in the process. Houston has now won 6 games in a row and sits 58-55, 2.5 games clear of the Texas Rangers. They'll face the Toronto Blue Jays tonight at 7:10 p.m. right after today's Major League Baseball trade deadline. And speaking of the deadline, it was the rich getting richer over the weekend. The Los Angeles Dodgers landed Tigers ace Tarek Skubal for a package that includes 3 prospects. Skubal is the back-to-back reigning Cy Young Award winner in the American League and joins an already loaded first-place Dodgers team. Clubs have until today's 5 o'clock p.m. Central deadline to make moves. LSU got some good news over the weekend on the baseball side of things. Standout high school pitcher Logan Schmidt announced that he will be attending LSU after all. Schmidt was committed to the Tigers but was selected in the MLB draft and was also considering junior college. He joins Jay Johnson's roster for the 2026 season as a left-handed pitcher. The New Orleans Saints began training camp last week and have already lost a couple of expected contributors. After Brian Brzez's knee injury on the first day of camp, the news over the weekend was that wide receiver Jalen Polk has unexpectedly retired from football at age 24. On the PGA Tour, it was Michael Thorbjornsen winning for the first time as he took home the final Rocket Classic in Detroit, Michigan. And it was a sad weekend for the McNeese family as former Cowboys defensive back Levi Wyatt passed away in a car crash.
I'm Dawson Angelo, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. Here is RP3 and Meche on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Good day to you and yours, and welcome into a Monday edition of RP3 and Meche. Sans the Meche, as our guy is out and about enjoying himself. I am the big, bald, beautiful one, Raymond Parch III, better known as RP3, or as Mr. Bobby says, 2 out of 3. And joining me inside the Beal & Hebert studios here in Upper Lafayette, Beal & Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers, is the former producer extraordinaire. He then became a great co-host And since then, he has become a multiple LAB award-winning show host, interviewer, podcaster. He's also won a plethora of LSWA awards. He's the son of Iceman, Dawson Iserloh, filling in today. Good day, D-Lo.
What's going on?
We got a big week in front of us, bud.
That is the truth in more ways than you could imagine.
Big week for us because on Wednesday, there'll be no lowdown with D-Lo because of Astros Day Baseball. One of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball, by the way, the Astros. But we'll be flying to Cleveland on Wednesday, making our way to the lovely state of Ohio, where I've never been. I've never stepped foot in Ohio, so this will be checking it off the list. And, of course, we're going up a little bit early in preparation for the Pro Football Hall of Fame weekend, where Drew Brees will be inducted into the in Canton, Ohio. Slip on the gold jacket and unveil the bust. So we're excited about that, of course. We have our special show coming up this Friday. It's the Gold Standard. It's presented by Beal & Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Myself, D-Lo, and Meche. We will be putting together a 3-hour radio special live from the grounds of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so we're excited about that. And Thursday's shows are going to be kind of a, how would you describe that? Almost like a bridge to the specialty show, Dawson, is how we're going to describe that, because so much of it is going to be Pro Football Hall of Fame talk and Drew Brees talk on our shows on RP3 and Meche and on the Lowdown with D-Lo. So big week for us. We are honored to be part of the induction weekend. They didn't have to say yes to us, yet they did. And so we're excited about that. Big week for us. Big week for us coming up. We got a great show for you on this Monday. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk the latest with the New Orleans Pelicans and the NBA with David Grubb. He is the man, the editor-in-chief of the Bird Rights. That'll be at 11:30. At 12 o'clock, we're going to rerun an interview I did a few weeks ago with Jason Cannon. He's an author of a book about the famed Chicago Cubs owner, Charlie Murphy. We're going to replay that for you coming up today. That'll be at 12 o'clock. Great interview. If you love baseball, you love history, you'll want to tune in for that. Then we'll also have our third guest, Brett Chansey. We'll talk about those surging Houston Astros who swept the little Tejas Rangers over the weekend. Silver boot, still in Houston. First place, above 500. Trade deadline today, so plenty to get to, and we'll talk it over with Brett Chansey from the Locked On Stros podcast at 12:30. So we've got 3 guests lined up for you today. We'll also dive in to some things that happened over the weekend. LSU baseball team just got stronger. Nothing like getting a second-round draft pick to say, you know what? I'm not going to go play in the big leagues. I'm going to come play for y'all instead. That's a pretty good day. We'll talk about Schmidt headed to LSU. Instead of the pros, we'll also talk about an unexpected retiring involving the New Orleans Saints during training camp. A guy our boy James Meche was real high on. A guy that Kellen Moore spoke glowingly of multiple times over the course of the last year. Never played it down for the Saints. Mickey said, what's up? 6th-round draft pick? Let's burn it. Boom. Done. We'll dive into that as well. And, of course, we'll give you a recap of the entire Major League Baseball trade deadline. Plenty of activity over the weekend that we'll have to get to, give you a recap. Phillies, Braves, Yankees, and, of course, the Dodgers have all made moves over the weekend. Still waiting for the Astros to make a move. Trade deadline is later this afternoon. So we'll dive into all of that. But before we even dive into the today's specials, I know many of you have seen it on social media. We've been hit up via text and phone calls today because we made the announcement official on our social media platforms. But some changes coming around here to ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station. Yours truly, I will remain on the airwaves with RP3 and Meche, but I will no longer be serving as the programming director, the man in charge of the station, the man in charge of all the things that go with the station, including the website, making schedules, assigning blogs, so forth and so forth, because I'll be transitioning into a new role as operations manager for Delta Media Corp. So But not to worry, I'll still be on the airwaves. But then you're asking yourself, well, RP, you've been running the station for 7 years. Who's going to be taking it over? The man sitting in front of me, Dawson Irslow.
Well, I'd like to applaud you first. A double congrats here.
Oh, a little
Shout
double
out.
congrats. It felt right with both of us being together today.
How about it?
On the airwaves. So excited, and I can't wait to see what our guy D'Lo is going to be doing with the station. We've made a lot of progress in 7 years. It's always a team effort. It's always a collaboration. But I think we're going to go to even bigger and better things in the coming months and years ahead, because D'Lo is going to be running the ship. So,
let's do it.
There we go, buddy.
Let's keep driving it.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's dive right in. It's time for today's specials.
The fellas can't help with your lunch plans, but they can serve up the top stories of the day in bite-sized pieces. Time to order up today's specials here on RP3 and Meche, presented by Southwest Volkswagen, located at 6184 Johnston Street. Order up.
The special for today is about those Stros. It was a month ago, right, that we looked at this team, maybe closer to 6 weeks ago, that we looked at this team as possibly being sellers. National Major League Baseball reporters had them as sellers. They're going to sell Jeremy Pena at the trade deadline, Dawson. They're going to get rid of Jake Myers. They're going to get rid of maybe Spencer Getty. The only person that's not going to be touched is Yordan Alvarez. They're going to blow this thing up. And the Astros do what they always do, right? They scrap and fight away. They find a way. They are not a perfect team. They are a flawed team. You look at that roster, you go, issues. There's more issues than there's not. I don't love their starting pitching. They spent a good part of their offseason trying to shore that up only for it to really kind of blow up in their face. Imai is a train wreck. Lance McCullers is no longer on the team, right? JP France has been cut. Spencer Getty is human. Hasn't worked. And the lineup, with the exception of Alvarez, who's playing at an MVP level, I know that's a phrase Kevin Foote doesn't want to hear, but that's the reality. Yordan Alvarez may be the best overall hitter/slugger in the game right now, not named Ohtani. But yet they find a way. No Carlos Correa all year, finding a way. Just finding a way. And they swept the Rangers over the weekend. They just, on Friday, they clobbered them 11-2. Like, they took them behind the woodshed and said, you're not us. It is hilarious to me that despite Texas always spending money and being to a couple of World Series, right, under Ron Washington when they had Hamilton and all those boys, that they're still always little brother. The Astros own them. It's just one of those things that happens in sports where one team owns the other. And the Stros own the Rangers. They just do. They just do. And after beating them 11-2 on Friday, which, by the way, wrapped up the Silver Boot, before they even played Game 2, it was already done. They overtook the Rangers for first place in the American League West and went above 500. And they didn't stop there. By the way, it was the first time since April the 6th, Dawson, that this team was above 500. That happened on Friday.
It's a long road.
It's a long road. But what do we talk about all the time on this station? Because you and I and Kevin are baseball guys. Jordy, not as much. We love Uncle Jordy, but he's more of a hoops guy. Meche is more of a hoops guy. BP is a baseball guy, but he is infatuated with soccer. We talk about it all the time. 162 games. Baseball is a marathon. Always has been, always will be. And here we sit, August the 3rd, and the Houston Astros, despite having a flawed roster, because it is, you have an entire outfield, with the exception of Cam Smith, who I like, you have an entire outfield that can't hit. Your starting third baseman has been sidelined for the entire season, and Carlos Correa, who you traded for last year. Jose Altuve is still Jose Altuve, even though he frustrates Kevin. You got the big fella Alvarez, and your catcher has played well for you. But Pena's been banged up all year, off and on, right? The lineup doesn't drive as many runs in as they should. Your outfield can't hit. You have a great bullpen with Abreu and Hader, that 1-2 combination. And I actually agree with the Stros not trading Abreu to the Twins. I know there was some kerfuffle about that over the weekend. He may be the best setup man, middle reliever in Major League Baseball. I'm not trading that guy.
Been a rough year, but yeah, he started to show those signs that he might be coming back
in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, you don't want to. That's when it might be coming back. That's not the time to sell him.
That's not the time to sell him. And despite the starting rotation being beat up and not great, because it's not, this team, as it stands today, finds itself atop the American League West, 58-55, 3 games above 500. They were 9-1 in their last 10. And they're going to make a move at the trade deadline. It is absolutely phenomenal. The job, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Joe Espada deserves a lot of credit. We've questioned if the job is too big for Joe. If Joe was not ready to be a skipper because of everything that they've had to deal with a flawed roster construction by Dana Brown and the front office and a lot of injuries. You don't get back to being above 500 like this, Dawson, if the team doesn't believe in their skipper. This is baseball. Like, if the guys in that dugout don't believe in their skipper, this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen. Other sports, you can get away with that. Not in baseball. Doesn't work that way. If you don't believe in your guy that leads the team, it shows. And the fact that they've kind of pulled this out and have kind of turned a corner, I want to give credit where credit is due. Joe Espada deserves a lot of credit here.
I think so, too, because, look, he's also dealt with a pitching staff that, like, it's not just that they've had the injuries. They've had this weird stretch where in the last couple weeks, they've had Hayden Wesneski coming off a major surgery, trying to get his way back in. Christian Javier coming back, looking pretty bad as a reliever. Then, all right, maybe he's back. Now tonight he's going to get a start. What does he look like? They've had to deal with the same thing with Ronald Blanco. 3 guys kind of coming back. Hey, what are the pitch count limits? What roles do you use him in? They signed this guy out of Japan who everybody thought was going to be awesome. He's been terrible. They've had to manage that.
Whoa.
They've had, their setup man, like we talked about, the best setup man in baseball the last few years, all of a sudden couldn't pitch first 3 months of the season. Now they've been patient with him and they've worked him back. They've gotten him into the fold. They really don't have 3 big league outfielders, so they've had to kind of go, hey, Jordan, can you play left field a couple times a week? Hey, we'll have, we'll throw Taylor Trammell out there. We're getting big league at bats out of Taylor Trammell. We're picking up guys that no one's ever, like Lamont Wade was on the trash heap. Hey, he'll give us some good inning. I think it's been a fantastic job. And to be sitting here, I mean, they've been described, I think my new favorite analogy is they're the cockroaches of baseball. Not everybody likes them. Most people don't, yet they don't go away, and you can't kill them. And here they are yet again. Now, look, they don't hold up a trophy at the end of July for the teams that won July. If so, the Red Sox and Astros would have been battling it out for the July pennant. But they've got to keep the momentum rolling. But you do wonder, like, that's what's great about a team that gets hot in July, and it's why the Red Sox and Astros are probably both feeling this right now. If you can do that, which they've done, and then you go get yourself a nice little piece at the deadline. And for the Astros, I know the Correa thing didn't necessarily perfectly work out, but for nostalgia's sake, you bring George Springer back into the building tonight. You want to talk about a morale boost to the guys in that locker room, and then you wonder, does that carry us through the next month or two of the season, and then can we get into the postseason and see what happens? So, look, it's a long ways away from them having won this division, but they did win the month of July as far as the AL West is concerned.
I think the team that poses the biggest threat to them, if they ever figured out, is Seattle for the division. The Mariners just look absolutely lost. And Cal Riley, the big dumper, boy, he's Brady Anderson for a new generation. He is dreadful. Just awful, awful. Trade deadlines today. What do you want them to do?
So
I think they need another arm. You can't have enough pitching.
They're probably going to have to add a starter who can eat some bulk innings,
yes.
Which, to be honest with you, also probably means that we said it before. I just don't know what they're going to do with Imai because I don't know how the contract is structured. I don't know if I don't think he's going to be willing to go pitch in Sugar Land. maybe they go, hey, is that elbow pretty sore today? It is now. Find your way to, and I'm not suggesting they'd bend the rules or anything like that, but I think we know those things happen in baseball from time to time, right? If he's got any sort of ailment, hey, if anything on your body is feeling off, Imai, let us know so we can maybe put you on the injured list for a few weeks and figure this thing out. But a bulk innings eater on the mound, like Kevin Gausman would have made sense. Now the Cubs already went and got him, so that's not going to be the one. I heard, Robbie Ray's name's been out there. There's a handful of options, even Nathan Eovaldi, but would the Rangers really make a deal with the Astros in the heat of a division race? That would feel a little off, but maybe that's possible. And then they got to get an outfield bat, no doubt. I'd love Mike Trout, tell you what. Don't think they'd have the horses to pull that deal off, but maybe. Mickey Moniak's still in play, Kevin's favorite player that never was quite yet. And then now this news about George Springer sounds like it's a legit possibility. Toronto's in Houston. I'm just saying, save the cost of a flight. Jim Crane's watching the pocketbooks, get him on. He's already with the team in Toronto. He could just switch dugouts. He's pretty familiar with the clubhouse over in Houston as well.
Yeah. I get it. Is Toronto played in the World Series last year?
They did. They were a couple bloops away from winning the World Series last year. Yeah.
And they're going to be sellers, man.
Arizona the year prior.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
It's just what happens.
It's just baseball. We'll keep you up to date on any news involving the Houston Astros, of course. We got to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll unveil our poll question of the day. And I have thoughts about the Dodgers. That's next.
Today's specials here on RP3 and Mesh, presented by Southwest Volkswagen, located at 6184 Johnston Street.
Now is a great time to save at Southwest Volkswagen as summer is getting hot. Get the 2026 Volkswagen Atlas for only 0.9 APR for 48 months or take advantage of $3,500 in customer bonus cash. The Volkswagen Atlas with third-row seating, amazing technology, and one of the most comfortable drives you'll experience. Don't wait. Get down to Southwest Volkswagen today, located at 6184 Johnston Street in Lafayette, or you can give them a call, 337-895-0110 for more details.
From Tiger Stadium to the Texas state line, ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is your home for live and local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana. We're your official home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles also tackles the latest involving the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, McNeese Cowboys, and New Orleans Saints. So keep it locked right here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
August 15th is the date for the 12th annual Fête du Teche boat procession down the Bayou Teche. The day begins with Mass en Francais with Bishop Desitel at 8 a.m. at St. Leo's Church in Leonville. The boats then depart for a Eucharistic boat procession ending in St. Martinville. Register your boat today or find out more information at fêtedudetech.org or by liking their Facebook page. Don't miss the 12th annual Fête du Teche, Saturday, August 15th.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the LHSAA, are the 110,000 high school sports students in Louisiana. And so we stand. We stand for the runners, soccer and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, administrators, and officials. We stand for the swimmers, football players, and wrestlers. We stand for the golfers, softball, and volleyball players. We stand as the national leader and advocate for high school athletics and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
We talked about the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Moves are being made as we speak this morning. Not surprising. The Dodgers reacquired a catcher that they've had, I think, now 3 times. He keeps getting dealt or not re-signed. So there you go. That's the big move they made over the weekend, of course. No, I digress. Recent moves that have been made. My Braves added reliever, Suter, with the trade with the Angels. We had to give up Nacho. I'll miss Nacho. Clay Holmes, Robbie Ray, Brady Singer are the primary starting pitching. Reynolds still on the board. That's courtesy of Buster Olney. Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Boston are going to be among the possible buyers. I wouldn't mind Robbie Ray. Just going to be honest. Wouldn't mind it. Philly got better as they added 3-time batting champion from the San Francisco Giants. Don't love that. I'm confused by the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Well,
they acquired Soriano. They traded 3 prospects to the Angels, and Toronto's supposed to be a seller. Explain this move to me.
I don't know. I just think the buyer and seller terminology that we've been using for a while is probably a little outdated now because with the expanded playoff format, there's just so many more teams that are in that middle ground.
Okay, that's fair.
There really used to be a line in the sand, even less than 10 years ago, where it was all right, these teams are out of it. Like if you had the Blue Jays record 10, 15 years ago, I mean, literally we could do, and I'm saying 10 like that's some huge amount of time, but we know things have changed since then. If you literally took where the Blue Jays are right now, they're 52-60, right? In the division,
that's 8 games below 500.
They're in last place in the AL East. They're 13.5 behind the Rays, so they wouldn't even be considering the division, right? You'd look at the wild card standings, and you'd go, okay, the top team. Remember, there was 1 wild card spot for a long time, and then even when we went to 2, they would be sitting 8.5 games out of the second wild card spot. They'd be sitting 10.5 games out of the first wild card spot. So they'd be willing to say, all right, it's pretty much over. They're 4.5 behind Cleveland for the last wildcard spot now.
For the
so
one. Makes sense.
You go, hey, maybe we'll sell off an asset that we're not going to get anything from, but also maybe we'll add one. Now, they were pretty aggressive in adding one of the best relievers. But then again, they might also say, hey, well, we'll have him around, we'll sign him to a deal, but yeah, there's just not that many buyers.
But there has been a lot.
There's not that many sellers, I should say.
Right, but there has been a lot of activity. Right.
All of a sudden, there wasn't. Sometimes you have that mini deadline where a week before you go, "Hey, here's 4 or 5 big trades." We didn't really get that, but now we've gotten.
Well,
this
the White Sox picked up relief help with getting Brazoban from the Mets because the Mets are sellers. My Braves got a right-hander from the Giants. The Cubs, as you mentioned earlier, picked up Kevin Gausman, former LSU Tiger, in a trade with the Blue Jays. Yankees got themselves Luis Garcia Jr. from the Nationals in exchange for about 5 different players. That's an interesting that was not a position of need for the Yanks. So
they just felt like they needed a bat, I guess.
And they feel like they just went and got another bat. Tampa went out and got right-hander Freddie Peralta for the Mets. Remember, the Mets gave up all that capital to go get him, and now they're not getting they're same capital back. They are an absolute mess. But of course, the big story of the weekend is the White Sox acquiring right-hander Luis Castillo. Which I think is a good move for them, by the way, because the White Sox are all in this year. They're a surprise team. is the Dodgers acquiring Skubal. They get the 2-time Cy Young Award winner from Detroit. They give up 3 prospects to do so, and none of them are ranked in the top 5 in the Dodgers farm system. And this has caused people to lose their minds. And I totally understand. It does not make me happy. The Dodgers operate the way George Steinbrenner used to operate the Yankees 20-some-odd years ago, but they do so on steroids. They have figured out the loophole with the deferred money, which I think is, I believe, is an unfair advantage, but it's allowed, right? So, like, everything the Dodgers are doing is allowed. They're not doing anything illegal. They're doing what is allowed, and their team has come up with a way, and their investors have come up with a way of exploiting the system. We live in a time where there's no salary cap and no salary floor. I think a salary floor is more important than a salary cap because we've had owners for decades milk the system, get rich, and not have to invest in their teams. Okay? That's just as big of an issue, if not bigger, than the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers trying to outspend everybody. Period. Okay? The Dodgers are willing to spend the money. That's on them. They're willing to go out and do everything it is to assemble the Avengers every single year. That's on them. When you think of the Dodgers' best players, Kevin makes a point. Their farm system's not great. It's good. It's not great. Think of their best players. Mookie Betts. Well, he wasn't brought up in their farm system. He was a guy they got from the Red Sox. Oh, Shohei Ohtani. Nope. Got him. Right? Who else did they have out there? Oh, a former Astro that they picked up this year, right? Yeah, Kyle Tucker. Yeah, did they develop him?
About Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman, former Brave? No. See, you see what I'm saying? But they're willing to overpay and pay guys that other teams aren't willing to do. And they're allowed to do that. Does it piss me off? Sure. But this is what happens. The deferred money is kind of they're exploiting that. That should be getting away of, right? But the reason why this team has the advantages that it does, and I'll share this with you again, and I'll remind everybody about this. It ain't about the salary cap. It ain't about the salary floor. It's about this in particular thing specifically. Okay? And it's specific. When the Dodgers went bankrupt, Major League Baseball bailed them out. They came to the rescue of the Dodgers. This is before they got good. This is when they went bankrupt. And Major League Baseball agreed to tax their TV money as if they were still a broke franchise on the verge of bankruptcy. Because of that, this allows the Dodgers to keep roughly $66 million more per year than they otherwise would be able to do so. And this exception runs through 2039. That extra $66 million a year leaves the Dodgers with an advantage that allows them to defer salaries. That's their advantage. The TV money and the fact that Major League Baseball stepped in to save the Dodgers and gave them a break has given them, that's the unfair advantage in all of this. Once again, their approximate local TV revenue, they generate between $200 to $334 million a year. A year. And that's for over 25 years. The next closest is the Yankees with 140, then the Phillies with 125. Because of their television contract and that revenue, that allows them the advantage to defer money and pay Ohtani 20 years down the road. That allows them to put together the Avengers All-Star team. Is it fair? No. Did Major League Baseball sign off on it? Sure did. Are they going to change it? They're sure not. Are we going to get a work stoppage next year probably because of it? Yep. That's our poll question of the day. Are the Dodgers ruining baseball? Yes, no, or don't care. Go vote and leave your comments on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel, ESPN Southwest Louisiana. We got to take a timeout. Our first guest, we'll talk NBA and the Pelicans with David Grubb. That's next.
This is RP3 and Mesh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros had quite the weekend. They swept the Texas Rangers, securing a Lone Star Series for the season and grabbing first place in the American League West in the process. Houston has now won 6 games in a row and sits 58-55, 2.5 games clear of the Texas Rangers. They'll face the Toronto Blue Jays tonight at 7:10 p.m. right after today's Major League Baseball trade deadline. And speaking of the deadline, it was the rich getting richer over the weekend. The Los Angeles Dodgers landed Tigers ace Tarek Skubal for a package that includes 3 prospects. Skubal is the back-to-back reigning Cy Young Award winner in the American League and joins an already loaded first-place Dodgers team. Clubs have until today's 5 o'clock p.m. Central deadline to make moves. LSU got some good news over the weekend on the baseball side of things. Standout high school pitcher Logan Schmidt announced that he will be attending LSU after all. Schmidt was committed to the Tigers but was selected in the MLB draft and was also considering junior college. He joins Jay Johnson's roster for the 2026 season as a left-handed pitcher. The New Orleans Saints began training camp last week and have already lost a couple of expected contributors. After Brian Brzez's knee injury on the first day of camp, the news over the weekend was that wide receiver Jalen Polk has unexpectedly retired from football at age 24. On the PGA Tour, it was Michael Thorbjornsen winning for the first time as he took home the final Rocket Classic in Detroit, Michigan. And it was a sad weekend for the McNeese family as former Cowboys defensive back Levi Wyatt passed away in a car crash.
I'm Dawson Eislow, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. Drew Brees set a new standard for quarterback play, and now the Saints legend will be immortalized in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. RP3, D'Lo, and Mesh will be there for this historic occasion with a special 3-hour live broadcast from Canton, Ohio. Tune in Friday, August 7th for the Gold Standard. Presented by Beal & Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Right here on ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The best businesses aren't just businesses, they're neighbors. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino. They have the newest games around. Hot seat drawings and monthly specials like no one else. Located on the Bro Bridge Highway and on the banks of the Vermilion River. Come out today and try your luck at the Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local, certified South Louisiana.
Before hitting the road, get hooked up at Match Trailers on Bertrand Drive. Everything you need from truck equipment, accessories, and trailer parts, Match Trailers has it. Match Trailers, 1849 Bertrand Drive in Lafayette, or give Matt a call at 235-7534.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers, heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for perfection has grown throughout the entire Acadiana community. They deliver top-notch service with a commitment to excellence. Daily, weekly, or deep cleaning, trust the experts. Visit varietyjan.com today or call 337-298-8704 for a free quote. Variety Janitorial Services. We clean, you shine.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's Office.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With Meche.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
The biggest headlines in the world of sports are discussed here. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Oh, the start of today's show has been heavy on baseball. Of course, Major League Baseball trade deadline is today, and it's even part of our poll question of the day. But we're going to step aside from the baseball talk just for right now, and we're going to talk a little NBA, a little New Orleans Pelicans. Because I don't know about you, because I'm still waiting for Joe Dumars to make a move. Will that move happen? Will it happen? Or will I still be holding my breath when they start playing again in November? I feel like the latter may be true. To break it all down for us is the man who's the editor-in-chief of the Bird Rights. Our buddy, David Grubb, joins us now. D, good day to you, bud. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
First question. Does Joe Dumars believe that he has a team that can compete for a top 4 seed in the West, and that's why he's not made a single move?
I don't know if he thinks it's a top 4 team, but he certainly thinks it's a team that should make the playoffs. And as we've talked about before, I just don't see it. I mean, I made a comparison on a podcast where I was talking about this team being built very similar, almost the bizarro version of last year's Golden State Warriors. The Warriors only shot threes. They won 37 games. They couldn't rebound. They couldn't really defend that well. Pelicans don't defend well. The Pelicans don't rebound that well. They only score, primarily in the paint and don't shoot three. So like they're the bizarro Warriors. You can win games, but you're not going to compete being as one-dimensional as the Pelicans are. And this is a team that has solid wings, but is deficient in the backcourt, deficient in the front court, and just defensively is not on par with the teams that are really going to go far in the league.
The other thing that stands out to me about the lack of moves is that the head coach that he has hired from Orlando plays a certain style of defense. They don't have the guys to play that defense. So I'm confused here. You bring in a coach who has a certain defensive style on the court, and you're giving him a roster that doesn't reflect that.
Absolutely. You brought in a guy whose primary strengths as a coach are as an instructor and a developer of young talent. And what you have given him is a roster of guys who are well into their NBA careers primarily, who have their own habits, who are not by and large defenders, who are not by and large physical players. That's the template that he carried in Orlando no matter what roster they gave him. Maybe 2 players currently on this roster would have made the rotation as far as like the style of play for what the Magic did. Trey Murphy fits in anywhere. They would be glad to have him. Herb Jones likely would have fit in there. But nobody else. As far as like offensive and defense, you're not getting an upgrade from a Pelicans player over to a Magic player. So I think it's really difficult, the position that they put Jamal Mosley in.
It's kind of the dead period now, right? Because free agency has kind of come and gone in a lot of ways. It's not to say that there's moves that still can't be done, right? But is this the roster that we're going to have to start the season, in your opinion? And then maybe if they make a move, it'd be before the trade deadline for this coming season.
I mean, it's clear that they have this, heavy desire to add Benedict Mathurin to the roster. Though I don't know, he would make the roster more talented, yes, but does he make this team better? I don't really think so. He's a guy who would go to your bench, not a real efficient scorer, but that's what he does. So sure, he can make your bench a little bit better and replace what you weren't getting from Jordan Poole. But if that's the only addition, again, I don't see a team that has made itself dramatically better. You're talking about you need a 16-win increase to be an above 500 team from what you were last year. You've added nothing of note to your roster. I just don't see how it's possible to be 16 games better.
Oh, so let's talk about this player that they're infatuated with. Give us a little bit of intel on him. What can he do? What can't he do? And do you believe that they're going to get this deal done?
I think for Benedict Mather, when you look at his skill set, he's a guy who can attack off the dribble. He's a volume scorer, not an efficient scorer. So you're looking at somebody who would be like a poor man's Jamal Crawford. And that's you think about that with the second unit of, let's say, Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, Benedict Mathurin in that group, Sadiq Bey, and maybe Yves Misi if he's not in the starting lineup. That's a decent bench. It's not a great bench, but it's a decent bench. But again, that's not your biggest need. So I don't understand why you're infatuated with a player who doesn't address a single one of your major needs. He's not a primary ball handler. He's not a great defensive player. He's not an outstanding shooter. He's not a rebounder, and he's not 7 feet tall. He's 6'5". So when you look at all those things, I don't understand it. I think this is a player that maybe Troy Weaver was obsessed with when he was a GM, and I think he wants to collect some of these players that he's always liked. But I don't see how it makes this team better. And then when you look around the rest of the league, there's still this interest in Miles Turner and maybe making a trade for him if you can swap Poole for Turner. I would say that's a mistake because Poole's an expiring contract, and Miles Turner has 2 years beyond this with about $25 million on each of those. So I don't think that that's a smart move to make when he's turning 30. The Pelicans missed the window. So now you're in a position where either you're going to be selling at the deadline, which means your players are going to be devalued from what they are now because you're forced to move them at the deadline. Or if you are trying to add, you're going to be overpaying for players because you did not clear the kind of cap space that you needed this offseason.
It's a fair point. I've asked this to others, and I'll ask it to you before moving on to other things in the NBA. As an owner and as the man who's running the front office that's been handpicked by the owner, how are you going to sell this to a public that is filled with apathy and is tired of getting run-down product forced down their throats for the better part of 2 decades?
It seems to me that their sale is completely wrapped around the belief that Zion Williamson is going to be a 3-level scorer this year, that he is going to make this personal transformation. Everything is around those videos of him and his trainer working hard and all of these things. But I would say to anybody who would believe that, tell me when in NBA history somebody who was supposed to be great all of a sudden changed who they were in year 8 of their career. They all of a sudden became a much different player when it wasn't due to injury or something where they had to change their game. To me, you can't change who he is between his ears. You can add skills, and that's fine. But we've seen incredibly skilled players throughout the history of the NBA who just weren't winners. They just weren't that guy. And I think that until the Pelicans come to that realization, they're going to keep selling the possibility. And I think we have reached that nexus where the fans' patience has officially kind of run out. If they don't do something amazing this year, I'm not talking about making the playoffs. If the Pelicans don't win a series, they have to tear it down because you cannot keep doing this to the fan base.
What'd you make of LeBron going to Philly?
That's a desperation move. Like, when you look at it on its surface, LeBron and Embiid are your defensive front court. That's not going to work. And then you look about Jaylen Brown, who just left Boston, where he felt like he wasn't getting enough respect as a potential number one guy. Now he's behind Tyrese Maxey, who's already a fan favorite there, a guy they drafted. Behind Embiid, who's won an MVP there. And certainly, no matter what stage in his career, when LeBron James comes into the building, he sucks all the air out of the room. So if you're Jaylen Brown, are you really happy about this? If you're Tyrese Maxey, I know he sounded excited when they got it, but we'll see how this goes when LeBron is holding the ball in the fourth quarter and making the decisions. I don't know if Philly, a team that has not made it past the second round since Embiid got there, if this is the thing to get them over.
What's the move that's happened this offseason that's going to be the most impactful for a team that's going to help make them a true contender or stay as a contender?
I think the biggest ones, certainly you look at what Oklahoma City did in the draft and in reinforcing what they are. I think what the Spurs did this offseason has been fantastic. I think what you saw was the teams got bigger. All the teams that needed size went out and got size. And I think that was the big lesson for a lot of teams in this offseason, was to add size. And I think you look at the teams that reinforced their front courts by and large. It is the Bostons that got bigger. It is, San Antonio. It is Oklahoma City. The teams that were near the finals, they all got bigger. And you look at that in comparison to the teams that I think are falling behind, the teams that you look at like the Lakers, the teams you look at, the Golden State, the Pelicans, all those teams, they're pretty small. And I think the league is showing you again, size matters.
Look, the Lakers are going with white lightning, so I just don't understand what the problem is there. It's as if they're still playing in Minnesota. That's their goal this year. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Before we let you go, Bud, what are you expecting? Is there anything that you're hearing from your sources and everything, like an under-the-radar move or maybe another piece that's going to be moved here in the next couple weeks or month or so, or do you think it's all now dead?
I think the one thing that could happen is a Jordan Hawkins move. I think the Pelicans are really trying to offload him in order to create some more space to either absorb the Benedict Mathurin contract, though they have an exception available for him if the bidding gets out of hand, or to be able to give them a little more flexibility, because you've seen the last two signings they've made have been two-way or non-guaranteed deals. So I think the Pelicans do want to add some more size to the front court. Moving Jordan Hawkins could be the way to do that. I would also look at maybe a Daniel Gafford move. The Mavericks are actively shopping him. He's a guy who's had some injuries. But again, if you're the Pelicans, I don't think beggars can be choosers. He's a serviceable vertical big who can play defense. And I think he's a target that they should look at as well.
D, tell the folks where they can read all of your great work and where they can go get the pod.
Yep, follow me, of course, at DM Grum across social media, and you can check the pod, the post up 3 days a week on Boot Crew Media.
D, appreciate your time, buddy. Enjoy your week.
You do the same, brother.
We got to take a time out. Come back. We'll update the poll question, get to your comments. That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Hey, we're in the middle of summer. August is here. School's about to start for our little ones. But that also means that storm season is here. And ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, and Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley want you to be safe this storm season. That's why we've provided these hurricane safety tips. Make sure to secure your home and bring in any outdoor items before the storm makes landfall. Have an emergency kit stocked with water, food, and your personal medications. Know your evacuation routes and listen to local authorities. Stay informed with a battery-powered radio, and make sure you have fresh batteries in the radio. Remember, safety is in your hands. These hurricane preparedness tips are powered by Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley, your local Generac dealer. Visit midsouthpowersolutions.com today.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Whether it's a tempting text message or a quick glance at your GPS, taking your eyes off the road for just a moment can have serious consequences. This includes turning around or reaching down. Distracted driving includes eating or putting on makeup. Distracted driving is anything that diverts your attention from driving. I'm Lorraine Luquette Vinoy with Service Chevrolet Cadillac, encouraging you to drive smart, drive safe, and keep those eyes on the road, Acadiana. This message is powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac and this radio station, where safety meets style on the road.
Misfits Dine and Drink, a destination restaurant in Broussard, is constantly evolving. Dine in for great food and a great atmosphere. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or brunch on Saturday or Sunday, stop in to enjoy a handmade gourmet pizza or one of their delicious pastas. Take a sip of their new and seasonal craft cocktails and mocktails. And don't forget dessert. Try the birthday cake bread pudding. Whether it's new menu items or old favorites, come to Misfits for a great food experience. It's classic Italian with a modern twist. Misfits Dine and Drink, 200 Heritage Parkway off Highway 90 in Broussard.
Are you looking for an eye expert? Well, visit Acadiana Optics in Broussard, locally owned, founded, and operated by Broussard native Dr. Lindsay Dugas. From comprehensive eye exams for glasses and contacts to diabetic exams, pediatric eye care, emergency eye care, cataract and LASIK evaluations, Acadiana Optics provides family eye care for all vision needs. Enjoy state-of-the-art technology, designer frame selections, prescription Maui Jim sunglasses, and custom glasses and contacts. Acadiana Optics in Broussard. Call today to schedule your appointment.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
You know, we unveiled the poll question earlier today, but we didn't get to the comments or even the most recent results. Can we do that now, Mr. Iserloh? Is that something we can make happen?
Yeah, we could probably find a way there. So people don't think the Dodgers are good for baseball. Stunner. They are mainly saying that they are bad for the sport, as a matter of fact. 58% of them saying that. 37% don't care. 5% of the population here in our voting audience thinks they're good for the sport.
It is good to have a villain.
I do agree with that. But I think it's also good when people think the villain is on equal footing.
Correct, and they're not. But also,
but that still is baseball's fault.
Historically, in literature and in cinema and television, the villain always finds a way to cheat and have an upper hand because that's how they can have an upper hand and try to equalize the hero.
Right. Yes? Goliath was working with a little bit of a size advantage in the post. Thanos had the whole Infinity Stone thing in his back pocket.
Yeah, he had that gauntlet. Yeah.
Right. The Joker was just kind of crazy. That was his deal.
Yeah. So
you're right.
Once again, I'm not going to fault the Dodgers for doing everything in their power to win because that's what they're supposed to do. And if your team was the Dodgers, you'd be like, hell yeah, we got Skubal, good, right? Like that's how it works. The television thing is the television revenue disparity is what gives them the unfair advantage, not the fact that other teams are willing to not bring back. Boston gave up Mookie Betts for a bag of crawfish. The Angels couldn't build around Ohtani and Mike Trout, who, by the way, is rumored to be traded to Philly. Is that actually going to happen? Is he actually going to leave Anaheim finally?
Not confirmed yet. We'll
Not
see.
confirmed. There's some scuttlebutt about that. Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying? Like the Angels could have built around Ohtani. They didn't. No one forced Boston to trade Mookie Betts, who's going to be a Hall of Famer.
I've got something for you.
Oh, let's go.
Kenny Pickett's going to start Thursday night's Hall of Fame game for the Carolina Panthers. I thought you might want to know that.
We will be there for that. Yeah,
we're going to be in attendance.
We'll be there. We'll be checking out the small hands Pickett out there trying to make a living. Good for him. Good for him. I don't love their quarterback room. Ooh, that's Arizona, Carolina. Is there a worse matchup of quarterback rooms in the NFL? That's study on that. Marinate on that for a second. Seriously, awful.
Bryce at least has a chance still.
Yeah, I like him, but I don't know if he's, a guy or not. We got to take a time out because hour 1 is in the books. Hour number 2, we're going to kick it off talking with the author who wrote a tremendous book about baseball history involving the Chicago Cubs. That's how we're going to kick off hour number 2. That's next. Looking for your next firearm? Come visit Louisiana Gun Shop in Broussard. We've got financing options, 12 months same as cash, plus layaways up to 90 days. With a wide selection of new and used guns, we've got something for every budget, big or small. Have an old gun collecting dust? Trade it in or turn it into cash. Need parts? We've got the largest selection of AR-15 components in the area, from springs to grips and buttstocks. Explore our ever-changing used inventory online at LouisianaGunShop.com. Louisiana Gun Shop, your one-stop shop for firearms and more.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Do you know how many tax resolution firms have been forced to close because they were taking advantage of people or have gone out of business? It happens all the time. Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. As a matter of fact, there are national tax relief companies that are currently under court orders to cease operations. So if you have IRS issues, do not fall for the threats and scare tactics of the national so-called tax relief companies. The Bryson Law Firm has been doing this for decades. We have a AAA BBB rating, and our entire focus is IRS problems and tax liability issues. An IRS problem is a legal problem. Let the Bryson Law Firm help you get relief the right way. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Bryson Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Don't put it off any longer. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm. The Bryson Law Firm, LSB filing number LA2519684.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros had quite the weekend. They swept the Texas Rangers, securing the Lone Star Series for the season and grabbing first place in the American League West in the process. Houston has now won 6 games in a row and sits 58-55, 2.5 games clear of the Texas Rangers. They'll face the Toronto Blue Jays tonight at 7:10 p.m. right after today's Major League Baseball trade deadline. And speaking of the deadline, it was the rich getting richer over the weekend. The Los Angeles Dodgers landed Tigers ace Tarek Skubal for a package that includes 3 prospects. Skubal is the back-to-back reigning Cy Young Award winner in the American League and joins an already loaded first-place Dodgers team. Clubs have until today's 5 o'clock p.m. Central deadline to make moves. LSU got some good news over the weekend on the baseball side of things. Standout high school pitcher Logan Schmidt announced that he will be attending LSU after all. Schmidt was committed to the Tigers but was selected in the MLB draft and was also considering junior college. He joins Jay Johnson's roster for the 2026 season as a left-handed pitcher. The New Orleans Saints began training camp last week and have already lost a couple of expected contributors. After Brian Brzez's knee injury on the first day of camp, the news over the weekend was that wide receiver Jalen Polk has unexpectedly retired from football at age 24. On the PGA Tour, it was Michael Thorbjornsen winning for the first time as he took home the final Rocket Classic in Detroit, Michigan. And it was a sad weekend for the McNeese family as former Cowboys defensive back Levi Wyatt passed away in a car crash.
I'm Dawson Angelo, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. Here is RP3 and Meche on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The Chicago Cubs are part of baseball royalty. The fabric of the game cannot be told without mentioning the team on the north side of Chicago. And there's a fascinating book about the man who helped not only put the franchise on the map, helped lead them to just unparalleled success, but then quickly went away. And it's a fascinating read about the iconic owner, showman, former sports reporter, former PR guy, named Charlie Murphy. And he's the man that made the Chicago Cubs a national attraction back in the day. And the author of a book about Charlie Murphy, Jason Cannon, joins us now here on RP3 and Meche. Jason, thank you so much for making the time, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. It's the sport I fell in love with as a child and played as long as I could, as long as coaches allowed me to play it poorly. And I love books about the history of the game. And Charlie Murphy is one of these figures that is so interesting. He's so fascinating. By many people in his time, they hated him. They despised him. They were jealous of him. Others looked at what he was able to do as almost someone that was so ahead of the curve by decades on how an owner could act and behave, not only with the public but with the media. Just walk us through this, just how interesting of a character is the man that was Charlie Murphy.
Well, I think you're exactly right. Charlie is this fascinating individual who really elevated different aspects of working with promotional ideas in new and inventive ways. That had to do with things that were happening at the ballpark, to, as you mentioned, dealing with the media, to his just ambition and how public he was about all of it. Charlie grew up in a small town in Ohio, Wilmington, and played baseball as a kid and loved the sport and became a sports writer in Cincinnati. And as he worked in Cincinnati, he got to know several key figures in the game at that time. John T. Brush, who owned the Reds and later owned the New York Giants. Charlie Comiskey, who was a player in those years, as well as Ban Johnson, the future American League president. But the most important person that he was connected with was Charles Taft, who was President Taft's older half-brother. He actually wrote for the newspaper owned by Taft, and that's how that connection was established. And over the years, their partnership allowed Charlie eventually to purchase the Cubs and led to great success in the game. And so you have, in addition to his unique way of doing things, I would submit to you that he's, a little Ray Kroc, a little Charlie Finley, a little George Steinbrenner, a mixture of those three. You also have someone who was incredibly successful at that time and led the Cubs to great heights, really the most successful period in their franchise's history. So an interesting guy, an interesting story, and really one that you'd be hard-pressed to come across today in terms of his rags to riches tale.
And these days, you mentioned a few of them, we're so accustomed to owners sometimes being even bigger stars than the teams that they own. Jerry Jones comes to mind. Of course, you mentioned George Steinbrenner being another one. That's more commonplace these days in the last few decades. But back then, that was kind of revolutionary, and it seemed to maybe be a reason why he, I don't know, ruffled so many feathers with some of his contemporaries, his fellow owners.
Yeah, I agree with your take there. I think one of the interesting aspects of his story is because his background was in journalism You have during the progressive era, of course, Teddy Roosevelt and the bully pulpit and new ways of using the media, newspapers, as literacy expands and grows, as newspapers have greater reach, readership increases, and so it becomes a tool that can be used. And Murphy was an expert at it because he had started as a writer himself. And as he was able to glean information from others kind of on the beats that he covered, if you will, in Cincinnati and then later at the winter meetings and covering the aspects of the sport both during the year as well as the off season, he quickly realized that this was something the public wanted to read about. Very interested in the game of baseball, not just the games themselves, but also what was happening off the field. And he parlayed that later in his career as an owner as a way to communicate with the public. The other owners didn't like that because they often wanted their business to be done behind the scenes and behind closed doors. And, of course, once you get into some of those meeting minutes and you can read the conversations, the back and forth that the stenographer takes note of, it's very clear that the other owners are not pleased that Murphy is so willing to discuss everything publicly. But for Murphy, he really is a figure that represents really the changing of how media was used, particularly how sports was covered during that time.
His early life was of humble beginnings, and there was some rough stretches there inside the Murphy household with his family. Yet what I found fascinating in your book is that a lot of what Charlie had to go through growing up earlier than probably he should have in dealing with a father that became extremely distant after tragedies is that he never seemingly lost his joy and his enthusiasm as part of his personality. So many people go through the things like he went through and they retreat. He did not do that, and I found that fascinating. You document it in the book because especially during that time, he could have easily been stoic, and yet he was not.
Murphy's resilience, more than any other aspect of his personality, struck me in a very deep, meaningful way throughout the research process because I'm with you. There were a number of times where I thought he's still going, he's still plugging away, and he's doing it joyfully with a gregarious nature to him. Like he was a magnet in both sets of the term. In other words, he was a baseball magnet and owner, but he was also a magnet from a personality standpoint. When he was in the room, everybody knew it, and he absolutely projected this joy and just interest in life, and he was engaged in all these different activities. When you look at his life, the tragedies that he experienced, there's no question that they affected him on a deep level, and yet he continued to pursue thriving in life. He wanted to thrive and not just survive, and he was committed to that his entire 63 years, and I think you absolutely see that throughout his career, which is our focus mostly in the book and baseball, but also in theater as well. He loved the theater, and that was another area of life where he plugged himself into, and really a remarkable individual.
For us now, it may seem a foreign concept that a sports journalist would find his way into owning a sports franchise and being an influential owner at that. But this is a time in baseball history where that wasn't necessarily a rare feat. Ford Frick, of course, did it. That was famous. There was other examples. And Charlie was one of those that went from covering the Cincinnati Reds to then working in public relations and then found his way to owning a team. It's still, though, somewhat remarkable that the career trajectory is sports writer, PR guy, owner.
It's really remarkable when you think about it. It's really one of the classic, only in America stories, right? And even then, it takes place in a certain time frame. We wouldn't see it today. You might see, someone join join an ownership group, that might be part of a larger consortium or something of that nature. But really, in those days, you're right. There was a path from journalism to being involved with team ownership. But really, the scale upon which Murphy did it is really unique and really stunning. And the fact that his primary backer was Charles Taft, who's the older half-brother of the future president, it connects Charlie to the White House. And, of course, President Taft was a huge baseball fan and later visited the West Side grounds when Murphy was the owner of the team, which is this great triumphant day at the ballpark for connecting, right, America's pastime with the White House. And it really is a remarkable story. And his ambition was a big part of it, right? He loved what he did as a sports writer, but when he saw an opportunity, he was not afraid to take advantage of it or try to pursue it passionately. And for Murphy, he landed it, and it's really quite remarkable.
We're talking with author Jason Cannon. He's written a book about Charlie Murphy, the iconic showman, owner of the Chicago Cubs during their greatest era in franchise history. He joins us here in RP3 and Mesh to discuss the book. I want to go on to him getting the opportunity. He buys the Cubs, and he makes what I would say is a sound decision, and he finds really a partner in his skipper, who was a very good ball player in his own right. He was, of course, during that time, a ball player turned skipper, and, of course, his playing time decreased the longer he was a skipper, which was pretty common. But the relationship between Murphy and his skipper, totally different personalities in a lot of ways, yet they had a respect for each other, and that partnership would go on to help produce the Cubs winning 4 pennants and 2 World Series championships in a decade span.
Yes, I would submit to you that the smartest thing Murphy did in his entire tenure as the owner of the Cubs was to take the interim tag off of manager Frank Chance and make him the permanent skipper of the ball club. What had happened was manager Frank Salee had been very successful throughout his career, but he had unfortunately become ill, and as the illness prevented him from continuing to manage the club, Chance was elevated to that interim role. And when Murphy took over the ball club, he installed Chance as the permanent manager, and that was the smartest thing that he did, without question. And there was great synergy between the two because they were so passionate on winning, and they shared that characteristic, and that basically any disagreements that they had became secondary to their primary goal of winning. They did have very different personalities. Chance was just tough as nails, and in the off season, you could find him boxing or he was at the track, and he was an interesting character in the sports world, even beyond baseball. But he was tough as nails, played hurt, just an incredibly, physically tough in those dead ball era days. At the same time, he was incredibly intellectual, and he would sit back and try to figure out how he could get the best out of each one of his players. And he knew them well, and as he got to know them well, he tried to manage them in a way that brought out their best. And so he partnered those two incredible characteristics successfully, and Murphy stayed out of his way. And it led to the most successful era in Cubs history, and I think it does all come back to the partnership that they shared, Murphy and Chance.
It's a great partnership. They have immense success, great promotions, great on-field success, but he is essentially forced to sell the team, which is kind of just, I don't know, ridiculous on so many different levels, that he's the owner of the team and they have immense success, yet this is during a time in baseball where other league executives and officials kind of put together a power play, didn't they? And they kind of forced Charlie's hand here to no longer be the owner of the Chicago Cubs.
Exactly. The threat from the Federal League proved to be too big of an obstacle for even Murphy to overcome. Johnny Evers, at that point in time, of course, one of the great Hall of Fame ball players for the Cubs, part of that very famous double play combination, of course, Tinker to Evers to Chance. Murphy was inclined to fire Evers at this stage of his tenure, and Evers was willing, or at least expressed the openness to jump to the Federal League. And this was a huge problem for other owners in both the National League and the American League, because they did not want to see one of the great stars of the game jump to this competitor. So as a result, the owners really forced Murphy to sell. And basically it was, what are we going to do as a result of this outside threat? And ultimately, for as much squabbling as the National League owners had amongst themselves, one of the things that, and there were very few, but one of the things that managed to unite them was an outside threat like the Federal League, and ultimately it led to Murphy's downfall as owner of the Cubs.
How much did Hugh Fullerton, the great sports writer who's in the National Baseball Hall of Fame, how much was his perspective about Charlie help serve as kind of the genesis for you to write this book?
I thought it was a really key point, and I'm glad you brought up Hugh Fullerton, because Fullerton knew Murphy when they were teenagers. And so what I think is so unique about Fullerton's perspective is he has context. And I know we talked a little bit earlier about Murphy's early childhood years growing up in a home that had its deeply rooted challenges. And Fullerton knew Murphy during this time period. He knew that Murphy, for example, had gone to work at a pharmacy at the age of 15 to help support his mother and siblings, and that was a part of Murphy's story. And Charlie didn't talk about it with others. And so when Murphy finds himself at the top of the sport, Fullerton can look at this incredible achievement with a unique set of eyes. And then when he sees Murphy's downfall in the game of baseball, at any rate, he can understand, well, I've known Charlie a long time, and I've known Murph's penchants to overplay his hand from time to time, and yeah, that's all part of who he is. And yet, when Charlie eventually passed away and Fullerton wrote about him, and he said, this is a guy that was at the center of the baseball universe, on the field with the Cubs' success, but also the business of the game. And so I think Fullerton's perspective was really eye-opening for me, particularly his place in the history of the game. I mean, Fullerton knew everyone and was involved for so many years that he was a really key source. And so, Fullerton wrote about this publicly, and so with as much criticism as Murphy received, for Fullerton to do that, it was definitely eye-opening for me and encouraged me to explore his story further.
Well, Jason, it is a tremendous read. If you're a Chicago Cubs fan, it's definitely something you have to read. If you're a Major League Baseball fan, a history fan, and just a fan of just entertainment in general, because that's what Charlie really was. He was an entertainer on so many different levels. It is a tremendous read. Thank you so much for making the time to talk with us today, and I hope to talk to you again for any future books you got that are going to be coming down the pike, so to speak.
I appreciate it very much. Thanks for the time. Have a great rest of your day.
We got to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 1 here on RP3 and Mesh.
This is RP3 and Mesh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
And the Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros.
Incredible!
As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It's 9 a.m.
You just received a voicemail from your boss.
Hey, Janet, heads up. We got an important meeting coming up Thursday. The big guys are coming into town, so I need you in charge of lunch, and we've got to look good.
Luckily for Janet, she knows a place, and she knows her boss will be impressed.
Honey Baked Ham can cater your next event. Delicious and freshly sliced deli trays, box lunches with sandwich, chips, and dessert. Or try our fresh salad boxes, and the perfect touch with a meat and cheese tray. Honey Baked Ham Company.
Whether it's a tempting text message or a quick glance at your GPS, taking your eyes off the road for just a moment can have serious consequences. This includes turning around or reaching down. Distracted driving includes eating or putting on makeup. Distracted driving is anything that diverts your attention from driving. I'm Lorraine Luquette Vinoy with Service Chevrolet Cadillac, encouraging you to drive smart, drive safe, and keep those eyes on the road, Acadiana. This message is powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac and this radio station, where safety meets style on the road.
And now time for the Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Ever wonder why bugs seem to love your home as much as you do? One big reason: moisture. Roaches, termites, and ants are drawn to damp areas. Check under sinks, around windows, and in attics for leaks and excess moisture. A little home maintenance goes a long way in keeping pests out. Got unwanted guests? Call Sugarland Exterminating at 337-367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com for more information.
Sugarland Exterminating, a pest-free environment we're creating. Spiders, roaches, rats, and mice, those awful termites are not so nice. Get rid of all your pests right now. Call Sugarland Exterminating.
Termites, they're here. They're invasive. They can destroy your home if left untreated. Sugarland Exterminating has been in business for over 50 years, and they have the experience to effectively treat termites. Call 367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com.
And that has been your Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Back to the sports talk you not only want, but need. This is ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Oh, we're back in it here on RP3 and Meche. Let's get an update on that poll question of the day, shall we, Mr. Iserloh? Are the Dodgers ruining baseball?
Yes, is the consensus.
Of course it is.
We didn't technically word it like that. We said, are they bad for baseball, or good or bad? But a lot of people are saying they're bad. That's the general consensus. But Ton says they're just doing what the Yanks and Mets have done for years, pay a bunch of money for superstars. I'd argue it's a little different, but I get it.
I get it as well. So I'd rather my team be ultra aggressive and try to do everything they can to win every year. And once again, nothing the Dodgers are doing is deemed illegal. I think it's unfair, but it's not illegal. There's a difference. Do I think it's unfair that they get to defer all that money because of the television contract that Major League Baseball got for them as they were going bankrupt? Yep. Is that an unfair advantage? Yep. That's all correct. All correct. But it's not illegal. It's just not. Let's head out to the ESPN hotline. Welcome on our guy, Troy. Good day, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Raymond, how can you not think? I mean, they're the reason why they better enjoy this year, because there's going to be a lockout next year because of the Dodgers. I mean,
he's breaking up.
$700 million that he deferred?
Yeah, but they're allowed to do it. I understand the frustration. Major League Baseball allowed this to happen. And that's what I want people to realize. It's easy to say that the Dodgers are the villains. but they're not doing anything illegal. Major League Baseball is the one that bailed them out with their bankruptcy and got them the television deal that allows them to have an additional $66 million per year, no matter what, than anybody else. Okay? Like, there has to be accountability here from the league for allowing this to happen. Like, Major League Baseball allowed this to happen. They have allowed the deferred money to happen. If they take that away, the Dodgers will figure out some other way. Like, that's the reality that we're dealing with, and I'm more frustrated. The other thing that frustrates me about this, because our team doesn't do this, Troy, but there are teams that are owned by individuals that make a conscious effort to not retain their talent, to not pay their talent, to not invest in their ball clubs. Because of the television revenue sharing model, they're allowed to make millions of dollars every year off of franchises that they treat like a truck stop toilet. And Major League Baseball has allowed that to happen for so long that's just as big of a problem as the massive payrolls that the Yankees have had and the Red Sox have had and that the Dodgers currently have, is that allowing these other teams to water things down and not invest in their teams. Like, something's got to change. And
Raymond, as a Braves fan, I'm like, sometimes the best trade you can make is the ones you don't make. I mean, what are we getting? Just stay with what you got if you're going to get people like they're getting. I mean, the pitcher from the Royals, his ERA is like 20. What are we doing?
We're making some small moves just for insurance. I think a bigger move's on the way. I think they're going to try to go get Robbie from the Giants. If I had to guess. They need
to do something. Well, wouldn't it be great to beat the Dodgers in the National League Finals? I mean, it would be fantastic because according to the experts, so-called experts, why are we even playing the rest of the season? Just give the Dodgers the championship. I mean,
it's a fair point, buddy. It's a fair point. I appreciate the phone call, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, bud. It's a fair point. And I also point out this. The Dodgers with their ownership group have spent a ton of money, right? It's them and the Mets every year that battle it out for the biggest salaries every year, Dawson. It feels like that's been that way for a decade, right? And look what happens to the Mets. They're awful. The Mets are a poorly ran franchise. The Dodgers aren't. But every year the Dodgers spend a ton of money. Has it resulted in them winning the championship every single year? No. You know why? Because baseball is baseball. And look at all the money they've spent this year on free agents and guys that they picked up. Most of those guys are struggling or have been injured. Think about that for a second. All the money the Dodgers spent this year, and most of those big key acquisitions have either underperformed or have been injured or been both. Just a thought. Got to take a timeout. When we come back, our third and final guest of today's show. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk trade deadline. We'll talk all things Astros with our buddy Brett Chansey of the Locked On Astros podcast. That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we got to go fast now.
The Houston Astros had quite the weekend. They swept the Texas Rangers, securing the Lone Star Series for the season and grabbing first place in the American League West in the process. Houston has now won 6 games in a row and sits 58-55, 2.5 games clear of the Texas Rangers. They'll face the Toronto Blue Jays tonight at 7:10 p.m. right after today's Major League Baseball trade deadline. And speaking of the deadline, it was the rich getting richer over the weekend. The Los Angeles Dodgers landed Tigers ace Tarek Skubal for a package that includes 3 prospects. Skubal is the back-to-back reigning Cy Young Award winner in the American League and joins an already loaded first-place Dodgers team. Clubs have until today's 5 o'clock p.m. Central deadline to make moves. LSU got some good news over the weekend on the baseball side of things. Standout high school pitcher Logan Schmidt announced that he will be attending LSU after all. Schmidt was committed to the Tigers but was selected in the MLB draft and was also considering junior college. He joins Jay Johnson's roster for the 2026 season as a left-handed pitcher. The New Orleans Saints began training camp last week and have already lost a couple of expected contributors. After Brian Brzez's knee injury on the first day of camp, the news over the weekend was that wide receiver Jalen Polk has unexpectedly retired from football at age 24. On the PGA Tour, it was Michael Thorbjornsen winning for the first time as he took home the final Rocket Classic in Detroit, Michigan. And it was a sad weekend for the McNeese family as former Cowboys defensive back Levi Wyatt passed away in a car crash. I'm Dawson Angelo, and this has been your 2-Minute Drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-Minute Drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Drew Brees set a new standard for quarterback play, and now the Saints legend will be immortalized in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. RP3, D'Lo, and Meche will be there for this historic occasion with a special 3-hour live broadcast from Canton, Ohio. Tune in Friday, August 7th for the Gold Standard. Presented by Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Right here on ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Before hitting the road, get hooked up at Match Trailers on Bertrand Drive. Everything you need from truck equipment, accessories, and trailer parts, Match Trailers has it. Match Trailers, 1849 Bertrand Drive in Lafayette, or give Matt a call at 235-7534.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
The experts at Web.com want to build your business a successful website for free, just like we did for these current Web.com customers.
We've looked at other website designers. There's nobody better than Web.com.
Web.com can build your website in as little as 7 days free. Plus, we'll promote it on all the major search engines. If after 30 days you're happy, we'll continue to provide promotion, hosting, support, and maintenance, all for one low monthly fee. If not, cancel and pay nothing.
If you're in business and you don't have a web presence, you won't be taken seriously.
Call right now and you'll also get a free .com or .net domain name for your new website, powered by VeriSign, the world's leading domain name provider.
No upfront charge for site build, after which ongoing fees apply. Rights to site are relinquished when canceled. Domain included during active service, after which fees apply.
855-719-3099. 855-719-3099. 855-719-3099. That's 855-719-3099.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers. Heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
Helping you get through your workday. This is ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Will Dana Brown and company make a move, even a mid-tier move here, to help their surging ball club make it to the finish line, win this division, and go on a playoff run? To talk about that is our third and final guest on today's show. He's the host of the Locked On Astros podcast. Brett Chansey joins us now. Brett, good day to you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm surrounded by MLB Network on my left, Twitter on my right, and my phone, and deciding on if I want to do a live just show about what's going on or what's not going on. I mean, Alec Burleson's being talked about, Casey Mize being talked about with the Astros, but I don't know. I also saw a meme with Dana Brown walking around a Goodwill store, which was AI, but I'm like, what are we going to do?
Can we go ahead and put to bed the Cal Stores talk that's not going to happen because apparently the Florida fish want too much?
Yeah, look, if the Cal Stores price is too high, I mean, it's too high. But, it's a weird situation the Astros are in because when you say that you are not trading from your Major League roster at all, then the only thing you have to look at are your top prospects. And in a system that's not rated in the top 20, any guys you take of quality off, you're going to have to be able to justify that at the Major League level. And I feel like the Astros have kind of, I don't know, I think they've kind of worked themselves into a tough position to where they don't really have an advantage right now. I think everybody else has the advantage on them. This is where you wish you were a fly on the wall during these conversations. I think the Astros got pieces they can move. I think they have Major League pieces they can move. But, heck, I mean, if the Mariners are trading and making moves, what's our freaking problem?
What's the biggest need for this team right now, who's won 9 of their last 10, surging 3 games above 500 after a sweep of the Tejas Rangers? What's the biggest need still, in your opinion?
Oh, I think you absolutely have to get another starter. I think a starting pitcher, I think that's why a guy like a Casey Mize really, really fits that bill. There are some other guys. I know he's not a starter, but Luke Weaver. I know Clay Holmes is a rental. Robbie Ray is a rental. These guys, if you can get them, people have talked about maybe Shane Bieber. He's not having a great year. He's not really the Shane Bieber of old. But, I mean, you need another veteran pitcher, another veteran presence on that pitching staff. I mean, to take a white-hot Hunter Brown, to take Pete Lambert, and then you get that third arm, and then everybody else can fill in the spots after that. I think that's where you're looking first. You're looking for a pitcher. I don't care if he's a righty or lefty. I just need to know that he strikes batters out. And then I think your number 2 priority is going to be a left-handed outfield bat. You got to get another outfield bat. You got to get more offensive production out of your outfield.
What are the percentages that they can do both of those things today, Brett?
I think if they go high on one of those options and settle low, like if they go higher on the pitcher of who they want value-wise and more middle to upper middle or lower middle tier position player, I think they could get 2 done. If the odds were over under on 2, I would take the under. I just, with so many people buying right now, it's just really, really hard to predict. I mean, I even heard that freaking Mike Trout is possibly going to be moved and that the Phillies are talking about bringing in Mike Trout. And I would have never thought that Trout would ever leave the Angels. So 2026 is definitely one of these I think it's one of the most intriguing trade deadlines that we've had in recent memories.
Let's say they go get another starting pitcher. How does that rotation work? Because you spend all that money on Imai. It's not like you can send him down to Sugar Land. So what do you do?
Well, he is in the bullpen now. He basically has to earn his spot back. I mean, this is a guy that if you cannot depend on him in the regular season, there's no way this side of heaven that you're going to depend on him in a playoff spot in a starting role. That's why someone like a Casey Mize, I mean, you come in, maybe Imai settles into a bullpen role. Maybe they do come off of having to, saying that they're not going to trade from their Major League roster, and maybe they move someone like a Brian King. And then that gives more of a primary role to Tatsuya Imai. But if this guy can't get fixed and him wearing the pink backpack with the pink cowboy hat, being the rookie bullpen guy like he did this weekend, which I thought was great on his part to kind of accept his role into the culture of the Astros, then he's got to stick in the bullpen. You don't really have a choice, and that's why you go get a Robbie Ray. That's why you go get a Casey Mize. That's why you go out there and do that. and then let this guy get used to it. Let this guy get a whole year, and then when next year rolls around, you deal with it in spring training.
All right. Let's dive into this, though, a little bit.
Okay.
So Imai, he's going to have to earn his spot back. You spent a lot of money on a guy to have him just now eat innings. You did have an opportunity to trade Abreu to Minnie. Apparently, Dana was on board for this. Jim Crane stepped in. I think that's the right move. I know Abreu started off struggling, but he's been very good the last 6 weeks. Looks like the best middle reliever, setup man in baseball, or at least one of the top three. I think it's the right move to get rid of him now, to not get rid of him now, so to speak. Give me your thoughts on the proposed trade, and why do you think Crane kiboshed it?
You know, the only reason why I know that I would think Crane kiboshed it is look, Crane, I believe, is a player's owner. Like he is real big on players that he likes, players that, I mean, I don't know what kind of relationship he has with him off the field, but we know that, like, he was extremely close with Justin Verlander, right? I mean, tried multiple times to even get him back a third time, and, you know, all that stuff, right? So maybe there's something there with Brian Abreu's been with this club, was with them in 22, has been integral whenever they were going through their, you know, they brought on Hader, then Hader got injured, you know, he struggled and come back. And I feel like Crane is the type of owner that, like, rewards players. I think he's the one that said, yes, we're going to pay Rafael Montero the fifth highest contract of any relief pitcher in baseball. And I think that was a contract that was given to him because of what he did on the 22 World Series run. Those things do happen in baseball. And that's the only thing that to me explains it, because I believe Abreu is a free agent after this year. And it's got to be just a personal thing. I mean, Crane nixing a trade. Look, Dana, you're the GM. Oh, but wait, don't make that move. That doesn't seem to me like letting the GM do their job. Maybe it was the right move, and going into this playoff run, whether it's short or long, maybe Brian Abreu has some key innings. But I guess we'll never know if that would have worked out, because it's all just a bunch of, well, should have, could have, would have, but we didn't. Could there have been another arm that they could have given up outside of Abreu? Could they have said, hey, do y'all want Brian King? I mean, is Kaiway, is that someone that's also, I mean, since they're not trading MLB pieces, but is he a guy that they would consider moving to get a starter in? I can only explain it as this is one of Crane's guys, and Crane stepped in and he stood up for Abreu, and he's been good. And you know what? Maybe this is the fire that Abreu needed to just torch the rest of the league the remainder of the season.
It also could be the nail in the coffin for Dana Brown after the Imai deal, and now trying to trade one of Jim Crane's guys.
Oh, you know what? Man, RP, I didn't even think about that. He'd be like, you know what, Dana, you're gone, bud.
Yeah, I don't see that marriage working past this season. All right, let's go away from the trade deadline. Let's talk about the fact that this team has really turned things around, despite a rotation that's been beat up and not great, despite a lineup that many times forgets how to hit, despite injuries like Carlos Correa not even playing all year. Give me your thought on the job that skipper Joe Espada has done.
Well, I mean, you can't fault the guy. You can't say they were under 500 for so long because Joe Espada was a terrible manager. You know, there are still at times questions about where he has guys in the lineup. But then again, outside of two or three hitters, they, you know, outside of Alvarez, Pena, and, you know, Paredes for the most part, the other guys have been good at times, but they've been inconsistent. Look, I've always said this. I think Joe Espada has done a good job. But it is, I mean, you can't help but look at it, no matter where this roster is or not, your job is to go out there and put a winning product on the field, and you've got to play with the hand that you're dealt. And this team seems to struggle deeper and deeper into the season every year. And so the question Jim Crane has got to ask himself, is Joe Espada a guy that if he gets back to the playoffs, that he's turned a corner enough that Crane gives him a vote of confidence, gives him like a 3-year deal? Or does Crane kind of give him one of these 1-year deals and Joe's like, yeah, I'm going somewhere else? Because I think when you have Omar Lopez waiting in the wings, it makes it even tougher for Joe Espada, because I think both guys are very well liked by the players, but you have a guy that I think is chomping at the bit to become a major league manager. So I don't love the job that he's done, but I don't hate it either. And I've been very careful to be ultra critical of him, because I think a lot of the shortcomings of the team are self-inflicted, like you said, not being able to hit in certain situations, not being able to bring runners home. The manager can't control that. That's the players. It comes down to execution. I mean, did the Phillies get better because Don Mattingly became interim manager? No, they just pulled their heads out of the rear end and started playing baseball like they knew how to play baseball. And sometimes when people get fired, that's what it does. And the Astros didn't need that. Everybody said, if we fire Joe Espada, we're going to go into first place. Well, Joe Espada's still the manager, and we're now in first place. So the two things, I think, are exclusively separate.
If they don't make a deal, if they don't go get themselves a left-handed bat that can play in the outfield, if they don't get another starting pitcher, do you have confidence that this team can continue on its trajectory and win the AL West and make the playoffs?
I think that as they stand, I think they can make the playoffs. I mean, I know the Mariners are adding some people, but I think they may lose another pitcher today. George Kirby's rumored to be traded, and if that happens, I don't see the Mariners as being a formidable opponent going forward. I think the Astros win the division. I think they go to the playoffs, but as constructed, it's a much tougher battle because the White Sox just got stronger. And if the playoffs were today, you would play the White Sox in the ALDS, and they just got Luis Castillo. They got Murakami. They've got some hot bats, and so they're going to be a tough opponent. But after that, you got the Rays and the Yankees that are going to beat up on each other, so that's a good thing. And I mean, the AL traversing that, you may be able to get to the ALCS, but I still think you need another starter. I still think you need another bat to be a legitimate contender. Your goal is to get to the World Series, not just win the division. But if their goal is to win the division, make the postseason, stand pat and just cross your fingers.
Well, look, the last couple of years, getting back to the playoffs would be a success for the Stros. I know lofty expectations, but they are kind of in a little bit of a rebuild here. Rangers are trading Josh Smith to Toronto, which is interesting there. Utility man from the Rangers.
Okay.
Yep. So that's interesting what Texas looks like. Maybe they're going to be a seller now. They got an arm in return, so we'll see what happens there. Brett, quickly, our poll question of the day, are the Dodgers good or bad for baseball? I shared my thoughts. Does it make me mad what they do? Yes. But Major League Baseball has allowed this, and they're the ones that got them out of bankruptcy, and they're the ones that gave them that favorable TV deal that gives them an additional $66 million per year that no one else gets. And on top of it, that allows them to do the deferred money. But it also frustrates me just as much as because you have a handful of teams, sometimes even double-digit teams, that don't care about their franchises and treats them like complete garbage and still makes money off of them. Are the Dodgers good or bad for baseball?
I think the Dodgers are good for baseball, and here's why I say that. Because you need a villain, you need an evil empire, and all the pressure's on them. They got outplayed last World Series, and I know they won, but the Blue Jays nearly beat them. And it's not a guarantee, and everybody's gunning for them. But I'm with Mike on this. On Back to the Bullpen, he talks about how, baseball needs like a bad guy. And if you go back to the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight series, the Joker's like, you need me. Like, you need me. Like, you don't want to kill me because I'm the villain. And they are the villain. But, yes, the villain has become way too big. The $1.1 billion in deferred salary is absolutely asinine. And So I think they're good for baseball, but I can understand why people say they're bad for baseball. But that's on Major League Baseball. That's not on the owners. That's not on the players. That's on Major League Baseball for allowing $1.1 billion salary to be deferred. And how that's going to get rectified with the CBA, I have no clue.
Brett, appreciate your time as always, buddy. I got to take a time out. Enjoy your week.
Hey, man, you too. And as always, check out Locked on Astros on YouTube, Apple, Google, or Spotify. And check out Back to the Bullpen with Mike Stanton. We're now going live 10 o'clock Monday through Friday. Y'all have a good one. Go Stros.
Got to take a time out. We'll come back. We'll wrap up today's show and get you set up for the lowdown.
This is RP3 and Mesh live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Around Acadiana, community means supporting the businesses that make our hometown special. That's why we're proud to spotlight local companies that are certified South Louisiana.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers. Heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
You thinking trailers? Think Tibbs. Whether you tug it, tow it, or transport it, Tibbs Trailers is your headquarters for enclosed, flatbed, and hydraulic trailers. You won't find a better selection or a better price than right here. We've got the experts to repair or customize your trailer so it'll be ready for whatever you pull it through. Why would you go anywhere else when you can go to Tibbs Trailers? Now we're talking trailers.
Between Scott and Doosan. It's a great time to get out on the water, and Black's has you covered. Black's Outdoor Marine is Acadiana's Tohatsu Outboard and Low Boats headquarters. Tohatsu Outboards are reliable, affordable, and backed by a 5-year warranty. Black's has low-interest financing and can handle your outboard or mud motor repair. Stop by 1423 Northwest Evangeline Thruway in Lafayette or call 337-233-4272. That's 337-233-4272. Black's Outdoor Marine, serving Acadiana since 1968.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With Meche.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Broadcasting live from the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Back to more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Oh, let's thank our guest, David Grubb from the Bird Rights, Brett Chansey from Locked on Astros, and our good friend, the author, Mr. Cannon, on his book about Charlie Murphy, the iconic owner of the Chicago Cubs. We replayed that interview for you today. How about an update on the poll question of the day, Mr. Arslow? Any movement, any traction on the numbers, or are they the same?
Roughly the same. People don't agree with Brett Chansey.
There we go.
That the Dodgers are good for baseball.
There we go. It always works. You need a villain. You know, the Yankees used to be the villain. You need villains. You just do. It helps. Quickly, we only got about a minute and a half here. a wide receiver that a lot of people were high on, that Mickey Loomis traded a 6th-round draft pick to the New England Patriots, and yet he sat out all of last year due to injury. But when he did work out, the coaching staff said he was great. They were positive about him earlier this season, earlier during this offseason as well, that Mr. Polk was going to be in the mix. And he got excused absences over the weekend and then has retired from the NFL.
Yeah, this one's weird.
Yeah.
I don't have much for you here. I think we're going to find out. I'd imagine we're going to get more of the story at some point, but feels out of the blue.
For him to step aside and be excused, like the team was like, that's fine, feels like there's something else than just the decision of, I'm going to step away from football at, 24?
Right, and also this isn't a player that, there's a lot of, you could speculate all day long, but the ceiling was still immensely high. You never do know. You never do know what somebody's going through, so.
2nd-round draft pick, really didn't play. Never played for the Saints, never took a snap. So, yeah. Our guy Boxcar, for example, has the same amount of career receptions with the Saints as Polk does. That's 0. So, I'm in that boat as well, just for comparison. If you
can add me in there, too.
Yeah, go ahead and throw in D'Lo, even though I think D'Lo could play a little bit. Maybe a little tight end, a little run blocking action. Just
undersized for the NFL standard.
We'll be back on tomorrow, 11 to 1. The Lowdown with D'Lo is next.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added.